you're here. It's me tonight. We're going to talk all about painted turtles. So it's a conversation between you and me. So introduce yourself, put your name in the chat. I'm Tom, Two Turtle Tom. How did I get that name? My friend in college gave it to me when I had two hingeback tortoises. And this guy's from New Jersey, and he's like, you know what? You're Two Turtle Tom. That's your name. I'm like, okay, I'll keep it. So a couple months ago, when I really wanted to ramp up things and I started listening to Bill Strand's Reptile Entrepreneur podcast, I'm like, I need a brand. And so I resurrected the Two Turtle Tom name from 20 years ago. So hope you are doing well. Please drop in the chat. Let me know who is here. I'm in Maine, guys, about 850 miles from where I normally am. So we are going to talk all about Eastern painted turtles and anything else really that is back there in Little Pond. So Phil is here. Hey, Phil and Podrick. So guys, I really appreciate you joining me. I'm live tonight in Maine. This is my in-laws pond, believe it or not. They own about half the land here. Thank you, Kyle. It's a fantastic property. All in all, they have about 60 acres, half of which is water and half of the pond. This is a little pond in Maine, even though that pond is also about 60 acres. So there are two species of turtles in the pond, one of which we saw yesterday, the common snapping turtle, and the eastern painted turtle. So we are right on the northern end of their range here in Maine. I'm in Oxford County, Maine. Today we went all the way up into the mountains to see Grafton Notch State Park and a little waterfalls called Screw Auger Falls. We think we found a mink frog. It showed some intermediate characteristics, but the mink frog is the green frog of the North Woods. So I'm going to talk about painted turtles because, okay, so Podrick says, I need to send Matthew pics of his new female Russian tortoises. One has a golden skin and head. The other is black skinned and head. So yes, Podrick, I think we are going to do another live where we can actually sit down with Matthew and he can have his phone and he can have all the different subspecies. So he can specifically say, look, this is I don't even know their names, like Rastamani or Rastavani or Horsefieldii. I don't know their names at all, but that would be cool. And Podrick, post them in the Let's Talk Turtles group, the Let's Talk Turtles podcast group, because we're definitely going to have Matthew on eventually, and that would be good. I would love for us to have a place where we can all take a look at the pictures of our Russian tortoises. Like, who has a Russian tortoise? If you have a Russian tortoise, just say me in the chat. I'm curious if do we all have Russian tortoises? I don't. But yeah, say me. Kyle, Phil, Sebastian, any Russian tortoises in the house? Okay, yeah. I mean, I think we have so much potential to really work with Russian tortoises as a group. And Matthew has done all of this work and he has all of this expertise. And man, if we really work together, identify what we have, set them up in breeding groups. I don't have any, but maybe in the future, we could really do some cool things. So let's talk about painted turtles. I love painted turtles. I chose painted turtles because we are right here. Unfortunately, we have not seen a single eastern painted turtle in this pond. There's no good basking spots, but they don't seem to care. So we usually see them in the water. And, I'm wondering if they might be in the shallow water areas where they're a little bit warmer, and that's why we're not seeing them. So Kyle says, I don't plan on having a group of Russians. Matthew said he would help make sure I've got some pure subspecies. So, you know what? I would love if Matthew is producing these subspecies Russian tortoises. And where the heck is Matthew, by the way? Matthew, come on. Got to join me in Maine. I should text him, try to get him on. But wouldn't it be cool to have captive bred, to start with captive bred subspecies Russians and just watch them grow and develop and see how they look different, see if they behave different? That would be awesome. So Podrick, you are a fan of the southern painted turtle with a red back stripe. Now the easterns and midlands can have it, but it's usually not as distinct. And then the other thing about the southern painted turtle, it is now considered its own species. So the southern painted turtle stands alone as a species right now, and the eastern, the midland, and the western are all grouped together as one big species. And why is that? Because we go from east to west, and there's no distinct barriers in the painted turtles. So if you start in Maine and go to Ohio, there's no clear border where the easterns end and the midland marginata begin. And then Indiana, or actually Illinois, is like a whole interesting hybrid zone. You know, like Chris Leone had this picture, or he had a what he was calling a midland painted turtle, and it looked nothing like the midlands that we have in Ohio. So Matthew has joined us. Matthew, I think, you probably could do a whole podcast on Russian tortoises. I think there is so much material out there, and you could educate people so well on those. I think we could probably do each night talk about Russian tortoises. So. Okay, so the bugs aren't horrendous. So what we're gonna do right now is I'm actually gonna walk. Let's see, can I tell if I'm on Wi-Fi? I don't think I'm on Wi-Fi. So we're gonna walk down to the pond and see what we can find. The spring peepers and the gray tree frogs have just been calling like nuts. The sun is going down, and we actually had a few pop-up thunderstorms today. So uh, let's see here. I can switch the camera so we can kind of explore here. This is a pond, and it's also a bog. The bog is a sphagnum peat bog. If we dug this part up, it would be peat moss, and we could mine it for peat moss. Of course, we're not going to do that because it has lots of different rare plants and animals. So watch my video that I posted Monday, and Paige and I took a little romp through here. There's just all kinds of fantastic plants for a plant nerd. It's amazing. So we've had high pressure here. And so today is like our first day we had anything but blue sky. And so we had these pop-up thunderstorms come through. And as you can see, it cooled things off. Believe it or not, hear that? That was a pileated woodpecker. Now I'm going out onto the water, out into the dock. So this is actually where we would see the painted turtles right here, and snapping turtles. So we do a lot of fishing. We like to fish, and inevitably we get a sunfish, pumpkin seed hooked up, and we have a flopping fish that we can't really take care of, and that it's gonna die. You can see these pop up look at that. That's due west. Actually a little southwest. Right now you can mostly hear birds. But yeah, so when we fish, if we have a common snapping turtle later in the summer that's used to people fishing here, they'll come up. And I've actually had a perch on my fishing line, like literally right here. And like I'm reeling in this perch, and a giant common snapping turtle comes right up from the depths and grabbed that perch and just locked on, with its jaws. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And we got it off. I don't remember how, but he finally let go. So here's the canoe. We've got a kayak here as well. We've got the pedal boat, and we've got the old duck hunting rowboat. So yeah, the painted turtles. I'm really hoping tomorrow is when the females are gonna come up. The house up there is where they like to lay their eggs. There's a big open area. The soil is really sandy, and when we're home in Ohio, my mother-in-law will text us photos all the time of turtles like in June coming up. So tomorrow's our last day, and I'm really hoping that we will be able to see some female painted turtles come up. So, okay, I'm going to talk a little quietly, guys. Let me know if you can hear the frogs. They're starting to call. So there's a lot of birds calling too, but there's mostly right now the gray tree frog, and it kind of is this trill. It sounds like a frog. In about an hour, it will just be a deafening experience. Earlier in the week, the spring peepers were really, really calling. So, dragon lair, padraig, not cricket frogs. So we have spring peepers, gray tree frogs, and pickerel frogs, which kind of sound like someone's snoring, and green frogs, and bullfrogs. Those are the frog. American toad, they're here too. So it's pretty cool. Back to painted turtles, I'd be really curious to know where you guys are and whether or not you are allowed to legally keep painted turtles in your state. So Matthew, in Indiana, you've got the marginata, the Midland painted turtle. Let us know, can you keep a painted turtle in your state? In Ohio, you can keep wild painted turtles. If you have a pond on your property, just even like a small farm pond, and you want to keep a painted turtle from the wild, we have a process for doing that. And you can keep up to 4 wild collected turtles. That's pretty awesome, huh? Yeah, this is all the bog. So if I were to go walking through this, it's just this slogginess. Okay, so Kyle says in Iowa, you can collect them with a fishing license. And Matthew says that you can keep painted turtles here. So I kind of, they're so common. Why aren't painted turtles sold more often? Is it because they are regulated by those state wildlife agencies and you have to have a fishing license to get one? But if you're a pet store, you can't really have one. Why don't the Louisiana turtle farms that raise all the red-eared sliders and the cooters raise painted turtles more? Yeah, so Matthew says in the University of Michigan study showed eastern painted turtles stayed under ice for over 6 months. They're crazy cold tolerant. Where I am now, they measure the snow in feet here. Pick to take too long to mature, Matthew says. What is that? Three years to get 4 inches or 2 years? And they're getting a red-eared slider to maturity in a year or something like that? Maybe. Boy, it's really nice. The bugs aren't out. So check out this staircase. It used to be kind of a pain in the butt to get down here. That's the old path. But now they have a staircase. So, so one of the big problems with turtles is the 4-inch rule, and I think it's a blessing and a curse, to be quite honest. There's a lot to say about the 4-inch rule, but you know, the bottom line is that if we didn't have the 4-inch rule, I think we'd be way worse off. Maybe you disagree. I don't know. Matthew says red-eared sliders just grow way too fast for anything else to compete. So what's interesting here in Ohio, here, anybody want to go for a swim? Here's the pool. We used to swim in the pond, and in-laws got a little older, and so now we have this awesome pool. We're gonna go listen to the spring peepers, guys. Down here is a little beaver marsh area, little wetland. If I ever find spotted turtles or wood turtles here, it's gonna be down in this area. Matthew says that many male marginata and picta don't get over 4 inches. I don't know about that. I think they get at least 4 inches, but I only know Ohio. Okay, so if you listen very carefully, the high-pitched beeping, those are spring peepers. I got a new phone, guys. It just does some amazing things with the video and automatic high dynamic range photography. We could have only dreamt about this stuff like in 2006 when I used to run a program called Photomatics. So we're starting to see, the quieter I am, the better we see those. So we have this, essentially here what we have with the painted turtles is we have this turtle. It would make a really great pet, but it doesn't make money sense. So in Ohio, the big box stores don't sell red-eared sliders anymore because they're native and they have to have a license for everyone that they own. And if they don't have that, they can't sell them. So they stopped selling red-eared sliders, and now they just sell yellow-bellied sliders, which is the same thing. It's the same species, different subspecies, but now you just go into our herp rescues and you see only yellow-bellied sliders. I mean, you see a few old, some of the others. So then you have perfect painted turtles, right? Like the biggest female might get 10 inches, especially the Western, and they don't make a lot of economic sense. Maybe people don't buy them because why would you buy a turtle that you can just find in your backyard? But man, they're beautiful. I absolutely love them. I hatched 6 from a egg rescue situation. The eggs were laid in a place where that nest was going to be destroyed by construction, and I popped them in my reptibator in 2018, 19, and all 6 eggs hatched. And we kept one animal and found new homes for the others. So um, it's uh, it's uh, it's been pretty fun. I love painted turtles. I love keeping them. My setup, I have a single male. We got lucky there in a 75-gallon aquarium. Believe it or not, we have a really simple filter in there. It's just like one of these like internal hang-on filters that are really cheap, that suck water from below. And I thought we'd be getting a giant filter for this thing, but it's a small turtle in a big tank. We have the water about 3/4 of the way full. Oh my God, we use a coil UVB bulb, but the turtle's doing great. Like I said, we've raised him up from a hatchling. Seymour has grown smooth. Just check out the website. We have or my YouTube channel. We have so many videos of Seymour. He's just great. So Patrick Lee has joined us. Welcome, Patrick. I'm in Maine. Um, you missed the tour of the bog and the pond, but let me just give you a little view of where I'm staying. Um, this is my in-laws' backyard, guys. It's just an incredible place, and it's full of turtles and largemouth bass, yellow perch, pumpkin seeds, bullhead catfish, a lot of interesting fish. The green frogs are going crazy in the background. I hear some peepers. Um, so yeah, it's just a wild place. So I don't know. What do we do about the turtle farms? I honestly, I kind of think that's one of the big problems, is that we have these turtle farms in Louisiana, pumping out like probably, I don't know, 100,000 animals a year, maybe not that many, but those are the ones that go to the big box stores. Um, how do we how do we go around that? Uh, Dan's from Dan's Turtle Room has joined us. Hi, Dan. I am right in the middle of spotted turtle country in Maine. Unfortunately, I've never found one here, but there are a lot of painted turtles and common snapping turtles in the pond behind me. So the bugs, man, the bugs are not as bad as they have been. So um, believe it or not, I'm able to sit out here. I did not think I was going to be able to sit out here and talk to you guys. I thought I'd have to go inside, but um, haven't had to. Um, guys, have any questions about Maine? Have If you ever want to come to Maine, let me know. I can get you hooked up with some really cool places to explore. Podrick says he had confused a green tree frog calling in the yard today at noon today. So yeah, if it's like really humid, green or tree frogs. I don't know about greens, but grays, at least the ones we have here, we'll certainly call them in the middle of the day. And normally we come here like in the middle of July, but I love to come here because if I come here a month early, I get all the frogs, I get all the amphibians, I get a whole series of dragonflies that aren't here a month from now. Um, oh, I have something really cool I have to show you guys. I forgot about this. This is pretty cool. Um, Moths. If you like biodiversity, moths are incredible, and we keep a light on all night so we can pull the moth and salamanders. So Dan, we have dusky salamanders here. I've never seen a mole salamander here, unfortunately. I'm sure they're around, and we even have this cool beaver pond um, for them, but I have just never ever seen them. So okay, let me so we have some cool moths. The one is one that I did a video of, and I did videos of these guys, shorts, Check them out. Let me turn my camera around. Kyle says he spent 3 weeks in Maine when he was a teenager learning life lessons. LOL. Took a bus. It was a 45-hour ride. Oh my gosh. And Sebastian says he's never kept painteds, but captive bred are typically available at the repticons. Yeah, you know, there's like small time breeders putting them out, maybe bigger time breeders, but not. We need them mass produced. Okay, so this is the rosy maple moth, and I don't think I can turn on my light, but man, that is a cool moth. But here's the really cool moth. And you know, these are all over the eastern deciduous forest. That's the Luna moth. Look how big that guy is, man. I mean, that is just so cool. And it's a male. The males have these kind of feathery antennae, and they use those to find the girls, and they will fly all over the place, wide and far, to find the girls. So yeah, rosy maple moths are great. I have a few more, but man, go, if you guys have a moment, check out some of my shorts that I put up of the moths and some of the other cool stuff. They're here. Dealing with internet problems. It's amazing that I can do this at all. Just check the, oh look, we got a noodle. Make sure there's no frogs that need to be rescued. Nope. So that's the pool skimmer. So that's about it. I loaded up the tortoises with lots of food. My mom is taking care of them. It's starting, you're starting to see homes, hingeback eggs starting to hatch around the internet. Mine will be hatching soon. I'm incubating really low temperature, so it takes forever, and that's to get males. I don't have any guests lined up for next week, and you know, really, I'm doing this from week to week to week. So who do you want to see? And what species do you want to talk about? That's how I really want to know. One species I'd love to talk about are diamondback terrapins. And I would love to get Dan the Turtle Man, formerly Dan the Guppy Man, to talk about diamondback terrapins. But is there anybody else better? The thing about diamondback terrapins is that, like, at least through Dan, I'm like, these are always getting sick and getting crazy weird fungus. So I'm kind of scared to death of diamondback terrapins and ever having that. But yeah, I think I would love to have Dan on next to talk about diamondback terrapins. So if you guys know Dan or could kind of, you know, connect me with him. Podrick says Chris Leone. Yeah, I'd love to get Chris. Obviously, Western Herman's tortoises are one of his favorite species. I would love to know more about his interest in them and like, how did he get Western Herman's tortoises into the country? You know, when I never, of course, I was out of reptiles for a long time, but when I got back in, I was like, where'd these come from? They were never here before. So Chris, Matthew says not for beginners, absolutely. And Kyle. So Kyle has diamondbacks. That's awesome. Do you keep them in fresh or salt water? That's the question. Chris's wife would be the expert. Casey? I think, you know, Chris and Casey, they're spending a lot of time and doing a lot of work on that YouTube channel. It takes forever to do that stuff. So, and raise kids and raise a bunch of turtles. So, well, guys, drop me a line. Maybe Dan the Turtle Man. And we did Matthew a week early. Matthew will always be my guest the first Thursday of the month if he can. This was his slot. I wasn't really sure if this was going to work at all, but I'm actually on the data through the cell tower. They have satellite internet, so. Oh, that's true. Oh, God. Yeah, Patrick, for the Diamondback terrapins, yeah, Casey studies them in the wild, and they do the rescue work. So, um, so Matthew, we will be kind always. That is our rule. So, um, we all have our challenges, right? Is the bottom line. So. Well, I'm gonna sign off, guys. But thank you for joining me. This has been fun. I've really enjoyed showing you around. We have a blast here, but we're also ready to go home. I'm ready to see the turtles. So, for the turtles, I'm Tom. Check out my videos. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could share this, we need more people. We need to grow this, and we need it to get bigger. And we can do that. I'm excited, and I'm excited to talk to more people. The more people that watch, the more people that we can bring on. So thanks, guys. We'll see ya for the turtles.